go, you know. You can end up in jail anywhere, man. The song's about a jail in Mexico. Thank you, fella.
Summer sun has split to round round the hanging tree, swaying on the breeze. And the summer sun has split to round,
Yeah, thank you. Here's a kind of sing-along, perhaps.
holding hands, scaffing like us down on our way to see what we have done. The first is me, it's the first to lie. The children grows, their hearts and hope to die. By their tongue, swear to keep their mouth shut.
so much. Yeah. Dewey.
Backstage, Paradiso, on a very special day for this town, for Amsterdam, because our home team just won the championship.
That is amazing.
You have that, because I know that you lived here for
A little bit, yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
You have anything? Does soccer say anything to you? Does it mean anything to you?
Oh, I love football, soccer.
Yeah.
And I'm familiar with, the Dutch national team and the Amsterdam team as well. My friends that are here are always like they always get so close and never quite make it. And so it's a good day that they made it all the way.
Yeah, it's funny because now we're here at the Paradiso, and over there, I think 800 meters from us, there's a 350,000 people crowd waiting for a football team, and out there tonight there's going to be a 1,900 people crowd waiting for the Queens of the Stone Age.
It's just this town is kind of on fire tonight, I think.
Hopefully. Let's talk about what you are doing with this tour. I mean, you got back to the first album. Wow, boom. Well, you got back to the first album. How was it to start rehearsing that album and start rehearsing songs that you have never played with these guys before? How was it to start rehearsing that?
Well, it really actually made a big difference. We'd been away from each other for 2 years as a band. And when we came in the summer, it was our first time back together, and we did a few festivals like Lowlands and Pukkelpop, I think. And it was so much fun. We kind of were like, we should go on tour, but I guess we need a reason a little bit or some kind of false reason, basically. And the idea of just doing the first record came about, and playing these kind of intimate spots and kind of hand-picking the venues and more so that we could just be together, really, than anything, because it had been a while, and we didn't want to just rush into another record, because we've all been working our butts off for the last 2 years.
Yeah, because you've been touring with the Crooked Vultures, of course, writing songs, getting inspired by that.
Yeah.
What did you bring with you from the Vultures into, let's say, getting the band back together, playing Lowlands last year, now doing this?
Well, I mean, it's almost like a personality change, It's almost like putting on your dress clothes and then putting on your work clothes and then, this kind of personality shift. And I really was more focused on wanting to just play for the sake of playing for a second.
Yeah.
Because we have songs, but actually in doing the first record, it's been kind of changing how the new songs are. Because the first record's so sparse and simple, and so it's been scaling back everything, which is kind of cool.
How do you do that? I mean, it is what you say, the first album is this very together, simple, straightforward songs. And of course, on the later albums, there are songs like that. But how is it to rehearse those songs, to get that feel of the songs with this band? Was that easy?
I mean, the first thing we did was say, okay, there's going to be a lot of laying out.
Yeah.
And I think that's really good for you, because we don't have a problem. No one has a problem laying out where, I don't get to play for half a minute. And so what it did is it created a dynamic. When no one's playing and then 5 people are playing at once, it's the dynamic shift that's there is pretty large. And
you really have to know each other very well.
Yeah, and well, I mean, you have to be able to communicate with each other. But frankly, that's always been one of our strong suits, is that everyone speaks their mind. I mean, I think it's why we've had so much, crazy shit happen to us, because everyone speaks their mind, and it just turns into
a living thing.
A living thing, something that's like beyond you sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that song perfectly sets up. That's why there was no question of what would be the first song on the first record. It was like, in order to explain what's about to happen, then this, And it's still a song I really love to play. And we're playing everything kind of as it is. We used to kind of expand on it, and on many of these songs, and now that they're kind of all pulled back to what they were, it's interesting. They're just tight. They make sense. The amount of parts that happen are for a reason, and boom, you know, it's kind of cool.
Cool. You said you were getting this tour together, handpicking the venues that you really wanted to play. How's it going up to now?
It's been great. It's been great. I mean, we did the same thing in the States, and you know, over the years we've gotten to play places like Paradiso and the FNR, and I was even trying to play Tivoli and Utrecht, you know, and like you just get.
I even heard Rotown in Rotterdam, which is really small.
I was trying to play Rotterdam because not since, you know, for like 10 plus years was the last time I played in Rotterdam. But you know, you get familiar with some of these venues and you have a great show and you sort of attach it to the venue, you know, and whether or not that's true doesn't matter. You just get this kind of, you feel like you know the venue, you know the building.
Last time I saw you with the Vultures was in the Hama, the big one, the big outside the city venue. Is it good to be back in Paradiso then? Or?
I love the Paradiso. It looks beautiful, and with our soundman Hutch, who's like a member of our band, it always sounds great in here. And it's just got a great vibe, you know. I don't mind the Heineken place either, but I think clearly this has like something special. It's right in the center of town. And
it really, I can assure you, it creates a buzz from, I mean, you playing the FNR, playing Groningen, playing Amsterdam, it really created a buzz. Do you ever realize that, I mean, you're still a young guy, but do you ever realize that you are a special breed within the rock and roll business?
Well,
people really pay a lot of money, but have they really look forward to see a show?
Well, I mean, it means a lot because I you know, honestly, it makes me want to get on my knees and crawl around and have burnt offerings, and you know, because I just feel like I was saying this yesterday. It's tough to be in a band, and I feel really thankful that the people that we've been playing to for 13 years still show up right away, and
they stick with you.
Well, I mean, I think there's got to be some kind of silent agreement that all I've ever cared about is that people understand that we're trying to do the best music we can every time. And that doesn't mean you make it in everyone's mind, but if someone understands that they trust that you're going to go off as far as you can, you know, then that relationship is really important. Right before the Vultures record, when the band started, it was the first time I'd never had any music sort of in a cachet, you know, like I've always written, you know, an album or two ahead. I've always had 15 extra songs lying around. But at the start of the Vultures, it was the first time I had basically 2 or 3 things, you know. And so it made me feel very naked, you know. Because
do you have an explanation why?
I think I'd just been working so much. I think I was just burnt out, honestly.
Okay.
And I mean, at that point, it's only been 2 years ago, and you know, at that point, I'm gonna be 38 in 2 days, and I've been doing this on tour for 20 years. So I've never stopped. So I think I just hit my headroom, you know, the ceiling before, you know.
I had the same conversation with Dave Grohl in Stockholm, and he was telling me about those periods in the Foo Fighters' existence in which he had the same feeling. Maybe not the burned out feeling, but the feeling that if you have to do it again, it wouldn't be possible. So he played with you guys, for example, in 2003. How do you get yourself into this inspirational vibe again?
Well, I think for me it's about paying attention to the little things and really surrounding myself with things that I love. Because and that's what sort of gives me this appreciation, and then sort of withdrawing from that for a minute and that sort of yearning in between the two moments is where I really start to write, you know. And so I need to have had some good time, a good amount of time to recharge my battery, and then I have to leave and go somewhere and want to come back right away. And that's not necessarily tour, it's just to like go off by myself.
Is it also producing other artists? Do you get some energy from that, like you did with the Arctic Monkeys, for example?
I love that, and I you know, I've been doing bunches of little things like that, and I've started to accept production gigs, you know, because I really love being in the studio and being around creative people and just making sure no one messes with them, I guess, you know, just so, because it's such a great thing to actualize your music.
Yeah.
It's such a magic moment, and so just being there and prohibiting others from ruining it for some people is a great feeling too, you know?
And a great asset. I mean, for you, is it possible, do you ever get hurt when people don't like what you make? Or when you do a production job on an album and people say, I don't like it. Does it hurt you, or do you just think that's...
No, I'm okay, because I think, you know, you can't help what you like and don't like.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to like everything. That would be great,
Yeah.
because then I would be able to enjoy all types of music. And, you know, I also think people don't understand who's responsible for things too. And I know that they don't know who's responsible. So maybe whatever feelings they have, whether they're good or bad, or maybe out of whack a little bit.
Yeah.
And music's for liking. It's an interpretive dance, you know.
Yeah, but I can imagine if you've been working for 1.5 or 2 years on an album and it's coming out...
Well, I think the most important thing is that you work until you love it.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, I'm not a perfectionist, but I like to stay in there until it's reached its spot.
Yeah.
And then once it's there, I'm willing to let it go.
Yeah.
And someone can use it as a coaster.
Okay.
Or hit me with it. You know, and I'm
Yeah,
okay.
you don't care, yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the greatest feeling in the world, but it doesn't get me down, you know?
Yeah.
Because I know how I feel about it, and that's what it's for. What we're going to do is nothing for a second.
Yeah.
You know, and just, like I said, sort of be around everything we love, and then we're going to go off and, you know, I know that by the end of the year we'll have completed a record. I bet, you know, it's an easy guess, you know, and so right now we're just listening to music and just examining things, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I feel like it's a bit like the science of love or something. It's science on a very esoteric topic, you know.
Yeah.
And so you're sort of collecting data about how you feel, you know.
And there is no way to do it right every time. You just have to find out new ways, maybe.
Well, what I like is there's no way to really do it wrong. You know, you this is the only thing I know that you could never do wrong. I mean, you could do something that most people didn't like, but it's still not wrong. It's
No,
just
because it's you.
There's just
Yeah.
a unilateral agreement that
Exactly.
most people don't like it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. How do you work? I mean, you have a family, and
have a family too, right?
yeah, I have
Yeah,
2 kids.
yeah,
and I have
yeah.
2 very musical kids.
We talked about it
Yeah,
last
yeah.
time.
And so I know a little bit what it is to be working on a song and being disturbed by a little kid saying, "Daddy, Daddy, I want this or I want that." I saw back and forth the documentary on the Foo Fighters. I saw Dave doing a guitar part and Violet tapping on his shoulder.
Yeah.
I thought we were going swimming.
Yeah.
So how do you go? Yeah, that's
sounds
funny.
Awesome. That sounds funny. Well, I think for me, I have to disappear. I go out to the desert or I go to the studio,
Okay.
which is not in my home, because I want to live at home and I want to work, and I need that separation.
Is it possible?
It's more difficult now because, frankly, I'd rather go swimming. You know, I guess you know.
Yeah.
And before I was just a selfish bastard, and it was awesome. But now there's something that music was always the thing I cared about the most, more than anything.
Yeah.
And now it's in second place. You know.
Is it really in second place?
Yeah, I've always been very close with my family, and that's why I've never talked about it, because it's mine. It's very
of course,
precious
yeah.
to me. I don't want to include someone else, but with adding people to it that are really short people.
Vulnerable short people. Yeah.
You know, I often walk through my house and say to my wife, Brody, I'm like, there's a really short person asleep in the next room. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's amazing to me that after all the things that this is one of the things I get to do as well. So.
Yeah. So a new album maybe in the end of the year, but first of all, having a lot of fun. Are you having a lot of fun during this tour?
I am. That's why I'm so tired. I'm so I'm so hungover from last night. You know, in these breaks away from you know, domestic life, I I really turn up the burner, and so.
Do it all in a short period of time. Yeah.
Well, and I'm, as I said, I'm going to be 38 in a couple days, and I guess
getting harder a bit.
I guess I'm feeling it today, you know.
Okay. Well, have a lot of fun in the Paradiso, and thank you very much for this interview, Josh.
Thank you. Good to see you again,
Good
man.
to see you again,
Good to
man.
see you.